And we're live!
Woohoo!
Live from
Hello.
New York, it's Monday night.
It's Monday night, and we've been trying to do this for an hour. It's fine.
Literally an hour, so yay.
Technical difficulties today. This is Book Return to the Bee. I'm Callie.
I'm Orja. Welcome, and we're going
Um,
to be talking about Quicksilver, chapters 10 through 12.
it's gonna be great. Okay,
Woo!
so let's start. I'm gonna be doing the chapter recap today. So let's go.
Woohoo! Let's go.
Okay, so we open in Kingfisher. So like, Theris is like walking into the library, and she smells what's happening before she sees it. She smells like cooked meats and things. And the librarian losing his mind. And Ceres is like, "What's happening?" Kingfisher is eating in the library. The librarian's not having it. Like, no, no, you don't eat cooked foods in the library. He's like, "I barely eat crackers. Okay, like crackers is what we're getting." So basically, Kingfisher's just a real grumpy man, and he's like, "Fine, I'll leave. Um, I'll be waiting for you this afternoon in the forge." Essentially, like, I'll meet you there. You do whatever you need to do here. I clearly am not welcome. And so this like upsets Everlane, and everyone's just kind of like tense and odd. And Renfus is like, I mean, he's a little grumpy, but he deserves some grace. He spent 110 years alone. Has no rooms in the palace, no provisions, no nothing. So he's like, he's just here, but with like really no place to be, no place to stay. So give him some grace, essentially, is the request that Rinfus is giving. I don't think Ceres wants to give them any, but that is a request. So she can definitely tell that Everlane is struggling, and Ceres is like, there's some complicated emotional things happening here, but she doesn't have enough history to know really what's going on. So then we go into kind of learning a little bit more about alchemy and kind of what they're expecting her to do, what they're expecting Ceres to do. So we learn that basically alchemy is a form of magic that has been long forgotten by the Fae. There are three different types: one to heal, I'm pretty certain, one to transform, and one that manipulates metal. And they definitely think she's the one that can manipulate metal. They're not certain why, but there seems to be some sort of metal manipulation there. Apparently, they have been trying to figure out how the old Fae alchemist did this. They haven't been able to. And she also learns that a lot, and she was just like, "Oh, okay, well, like, how easy or hard is this?" And the librarian just casually drops that most of the alchemists went mad really early. He's like, "Yeah, they all just went a little crazy," and she's like, "Great, that's wonderful for me." And so as she's reading along, going through all these books, learning more about this, she goes, "Hey, how am I talking to you and understanding what you're saying and reading? Because like this is a different world. I'm not Fae. What's going on here?" So Everlane basically says, "Well, you're speaking common Fae. That would be why." And Ceres is like, "Why? What do you mean?" Uh, and so apparently, before the Fae came to Silvarn in the Silver City, they did speak something that wasn't common Fae. But like any conquering army, the country started speaking Fae. And Queen Madra, that's what she speaks, and because she's been over it basically since they left, she has maintained Common Fae um, as the language there. And so Ceres is like, "Okay, this seems like my opening. I'm going to talk about Madra. I'm going to ask Everlane, what does she know? Like, what is going on with this person?" She goes, "Yeah, I mean, she's a human. We don't really know why she's lived so long. Like, clearly someone helped her. We don't even really know how she knew about the sword or like could touch it. Like, basically, we have no idea. Uh, but we do learn that the sword is what was used to close the pool, and it was like a really tightly held secret. So they were like not really certain how she knew about it. Uh, and so then they talk about they're all Quicksilver pools, and she's like, "Well, what do they do? Like, what do you mean?" And she's like, "Well, they're all connected. Like, once she closed one, it closed off all of these supply lines, so it cut off like basically everyone everywhere." And Everlane's like, "Well, how are they connected?" And she talks about it being like a ribbon of energy. Essentially, she's like, "We're not 100% certain, but there's this like ribbon of energy
Mm-hmm.
that goes through them." And then they play a fun little game next of how old are the Fae? How old are they? So we learn that Everlane is 1,500 years old, which is significantly older than I thought she was going to be. And
Yeah.
she's quite stunned. Saris is quite stunned by this. And then she's like, oh, well, it's Kingfisher. And Everlane's like, how old do you think he is? Judging by my age. And she goes, well, he's like older than you. So I'm going to say like 1,800. And she's like, oh, he's 1,733 years old. So 1,733 years old. As they're doing this, Kingfisher literally saunters into the room and is like, if you want to ask me about something, come to me. Don't ask other people. He's a little grumpy about it. Um, basically, so he's coming to like collect her to go into the
Is his
forge,
hair wet?
and he probably. I mean, he's been in the forge, so it's like quite wet.
Sorry, I can't with
Oh,
that.
she's like, okay. I mean, it's about to get real wet. With a lot of things, but they're in a forge. It's sweaty. But basically, so he's like just all grumpy and is like, you should ask questions about me, and so she's like following him into the forge, and he essentially like goads her into asking a question. Um, and she's like, fine, I'll ask you one, whatever, because you're not going to be honest with me anyway. And she's like, well, Elroy always said that men will always lie about the size of their parts. I'm going to say the vulgar word, but there's this part was a little crass. Like, always are going to lie about that part. So, what is yours? And he was like, big enough to do the job, essentially. And I literally put such a man answer with an eye roll emoji on that section. So,
Yeah, truly.
it's a very male reaction to it. And she's like, see, clearly you're not being honest with me, so we can't move on. I can't ask you questions. And he's like, you didn't ask me a question that mattered. You just asked me this like kind of crass, gross question that has no bounds for anything, which I think is a fair assumption. So you can't judge me by that. And she was like, okay, I heard that you were banished because you razed a whole city to the ground. Is that true? And he's like, after like some internal struggle, he seems upset by it. He says, yeah, yeah, I did. And she's like, why? And he said that he had, but he won't tell her all the details because she's human and humans are weak. So he basically just like refuses to tell her. And then she's like, fine. She's not happy about it. She's very angry, but she's like, well, where did they send you? He basically says he was sent to hell. And then instead of answering the question, basically just like backs her up against a corner, takes her hand, and puts something in the palm of her hand. She has no idea what it is, but it does feel like cool and smooth on her hand. And now it starts hurting. So whatever this is in the palm of her hand starts burning her. And he's like holding his hands over the top of her hands to like in case where she can't like let go. And he's like, tell me what it is. Tell me what this is. And she's like, it's burning. It's burning. I don't understand what is going on. She's like, let me go, basically, but he's stronger than her because he's, big, strong, fake male. Um, and he's like, you gotta push through the pain and basically just like keeps building her to like pay attention. He's like, push through that pain and listen. And she's like, what do you mean by listen? I don't understand. And then suddenly it like snaps in her brain and she starts hearing these overlaying voices. And they're all screaming NRS more. We don't know what that means.
No.
That's what's happening. So she says that out loud, and Kingfisher just kind of stills and just stares at her. Doesn't really give her an explanation. But he does seem stunned. And then so like when they open up her hand, there's this like tiny little ball of Quicksilver. Is what he placed in her palm. That is sitting in her hand. And he's like, okay, now put it in a liquid state. And she's like, oh, but that could hurt me. You said if you walk through this, and he's like, as long as you're wearing a pendant, it won't hurt you. By this point, she's real mad. She's like not having it with him for valid reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but she does. He still makes commands for her. He's like, reach for it, tell it to sleep, and it just kind of starts talking to her, like it's like she's having this conversation with it. And she does eventually get it to like calm down. He's like, well, I definitely expected that to go differently. And then she punches him in the face.
Yeah.
That was her response, and that's the end of chapter 10. So that's kind of
That's the way I would have acted too.
oh yeah, no, that's the most reasonable thing I think she's done
It is, yeah, I
in this whole
agree.
section. by far the most reasonable thing. Okay, so now we go in to chapter 11, and it opens with Everlane being so furious and just like pulling like as tight as absolutely possible on her corset stays. And she's like, "You can't just go around punching Fey warriors. Like, you better be happy he didn't do anything worse." It's like, and she was like, "What do you mean worse? Like, what he did was already bad enough." She was like, "Well, I mean, it could have been like significantly worse, basically." And Everlyn asks like what happened, but Cirrus doesn't want to tell her. To her credit, she's like, "I know there's some tension here. I don't want to make more issues here," which makes Everlane just even more frustrated because she has no concept of what's happening.
Hmm.
But apparently, after she punched him in the face, Kingfisher threw Cirrus over her shoulder, kicked down her door, and threw her on the bed. He was like, "No, no," and then just said "bad human," which I think might be one of the funniest. I giggled. I just thought it
It's
was
so
so
good.
silly.
No, it's so good. It's like,
I had really mixed feelings about this section because I was like, "That's the worst," kind of hot, also really funny. It's a very very interesting scene that I really like that's in here. Um, and so she's just like, "Well, why is your brother like that?" And then Everlane's like, "No, don't say that." And she's like, "Say what part?" She goes, "Well, the brother part out loud. You can't say that part." She's like, "Is it a secret?" She's like, "It's not really a secret. It's just not talked about, right? Like, it's not a lot going on." And so she's like, "Okay, well, explain it to me." So apparently, their mother was married to a lord before she married the king, and that was Kingfisher's dad. The lord was in Silverin when the pool was closed, and the king declared that his father did it, but Kingfisher basically said it was Queen Madra. Like, my dad didn't do this. But his father was labeled a traitor with no proof. But then less than a year later, the king basically forced both of their mothers into marriage. She had a lot of wealth that he needed, basically, so it was like a pressure to do that. I put in parentheses, the king sucks so much. That was my note for that.
he does.
Um, he was basically, he's like, "Yeah, like bring all your assets with you, right?" And so she brought Kingfisher with her because that's her child. Apparently, he did not view him as an asset. He was quite upset that she brought her child. I don't know what he thought she was going to do with him, but anyhow. Um, and so basically, the king blames Kingfisher because he wanted a son. And in this realm, apparently, having children at all is a pretty rare gift. You don't get them very often. And the king basically said, "It's all your fault that Everlane's a girl because you used your mother up and put all the boy magic." I don't know. It didn't really make logical sense. I don't think it's supposed to use all the boy magic on you. But their mother died in childbirth, and Everlane's like, "Well, I'm the one that did that." And Ceres is like, "That's not how that
It's just
works."
not
Like,
true. Yeah.
she's like, "I know people have told Everlane this before, but like, she's clearly gonna blame herself." Basically, everyone is blaming everyone in this situation
Hmm.
for the death. So eventually she like finally Ceres is finally left alone. Like Everlane leaves, she's all dressed in her corset, incredibly tight corseted dress. And she just keeps saying Amaranth more. She's like, "I can't hear it anymore, but it's stuck in my head. I don't know what it means, but it's playing over and over in my head." And then Kingfisher comes back into the room, and I put is very flirty. He comes in and closes the curtain to her room, and she's like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm so hungover. Please don't yell at me. Please, no light. Don't yell at me. I'm really hungover." They verbally spar back and forth for a bit. And okay, I'm trying to figure out the most tactful way to explain this because this is an important part of this book. We've talked about this a little bit before. It is a common thing in Fae novels that Fae have very sensitive sense of smell.
Yep.
And in this one, that means that they can smell if someone is aroused, basically. And Ceres thinks Kingfisher is very handsome, and so there's a lot of smells happening, and he informs her of this, and she's mortified, basically. Um, and so she's like trying to change the subject, and she's like, "If that busted lip, like surely there's people around here that can heal it." And he's like, "I think I'm gonna keep it." And then he says some more sexually aggressive things that I made notes of, but I'm
Sexually
going to
aggressive
decide
is a
not to
good way to
state.
put it. Yeah.
It's like it's in a positive way. It's not like negative, but it's very like mental verbal sparring basically. But he makes a lot of crass. It's not crass, but like flirty, very flirty. Um, so he's clearly amused that she's upset. Uh, but then Saris does clock um the cheese that he's given her. Oh, she starts choking. She's choking on this cheese. So he like hands her this cheese. And she's just like, I mean, I am hungry. I don't really know why this part necessarily happened, but she starts choking on this cheese. He has like this plate of hangover charcuterie that he's eating, and he just like only hands her this one type of cheese that basically turns
Hmm.
into glue. And she's like, I don't understand. So Everlane like runs in and she's just like, oh my gosh, why did you do this? I need to help you. And Lane's like, oh my gosh, why does it smell like a brothel in here? Like Kingfisher, you could have at least, showered before you came in here. Kingfisher is in fact not the source of
It,
the smell. But to his credit, he does not tell Everlane.
yeah,
Uh, Thankfully for Saris, because that would be uncomfortable. Also, don't think you would want to tell your sibling that. Anyway, that sounds
definitely not.
awful.
Yeah.
But she can, but she can tell that he's trying really hard to like hold it together because he thinks it's really funny. Um, he's like, "Yeah, sorry, my bad. I'll leave." And Lane's just like so confused. She's like, "I don't understand what's happening with him. Like, what's going on?" Um, so they eventually all make their way back to the library, and it's very, very cold. And this is also the first time that Saris gets to see snow falling from the sky. That they talk about, like, oh, it's gonna snow, and she's like, I've seen it on the ground, but she's like really excited to get to see like the snowfall. And so she does decide. She's like, okay. They're like trying to tell her all about this court etiquette and all of this stuff, which is important to Everlane. But she's like, I need to learn about this Quicksilver. I need to skip all this court etiquette stuff. I need to learn like the task that I've been given. That's what your father told me I had to do. Um, and is Lusaris the name of the librarian? Is that his name?
Yes,
Lusaris.
Rosarius.
Lusaris is like Lusarius.
Hmm.
Lusarius is like, well, we probably should listen to her because Kingfisher's only here for a week, and if he doesn't make progress, they're all concerned that both Saris and Kingfisher will face the consequences of it. And everyone's like, okay, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Um, but she's like, I still think she needs to learn about it. So she does start asking. She's like, how do I know where I will end up on the other side? Like, how do you not just like end up somewhere randomly? And he's like, oh, that part we know. That part was not a secret. It was just like how it all worked and was activated. She's like, oh, oh, okay. Well, what do you mean? And he's like, well, they would basically just like stand in front of it. This part sounds kind of silly, and I don't know why. I'm just picturing these like really regal elves being like, you have to set the intention of what you want, and then you just walk into the silver pool and hope it pulls you in the right spot. Most of the
Correct.
time, it did,
Hmm.
but sometimes they would just get lost along the way. Like apparently, there was a group that was looking for helium, which seems like a choice. They were like, "Oh, we need to
Hydrogen.
find this element." What was it? Hydrogen?
He said something
I
about a
don't remember.
sun, right? I feel like maybe that is helium. I don't
That
know.
makes more sense. My brain said helium, and I think that's what I wrote down. They were looking for a gas. They were looking
An
for a
H
gas,
gas.
and they're pretty certain that they ended up in the middle of a sun. I think both are present in a star, but they think that they
Hmm.
literally like quicksilvered, sucked themselves into a star and burned up. We don't
Right
know.
into the
They
middle
got
of a sun.
they got lost. We don't really know. And she's just like, oh, okay, that's cool. And she's like, so where is the pool? She's like trying to be slick about this. She's basically trying to figure out how to get back to Hayden. So she's like, where is the pool here? And the librarian's like, oh, I know. It's like in the bowels of the place. We have one of the biggest like pools ever had, except for the like Ocean Kingdom, which I forgot existed and they just kind of dropped
Yeah.
casually into this. But they're like, oh yeah, that has the other biggest pool. And she's like, oh, okay. Like in my so like the other pool is in the palace in my place and that one's here. And he's like, yeah, yeah. And so she's basically like trying to put she's taking all of these notes down about like where all of the pools in the different kingdoms are, and she's just like really trying to find a way to get home. And that is the end of chapter 11. One more, almost done.
This one is my
Chapter
favorite
12.
one so far.
The, chapter 11 or chapter 12?
12.
12 is fun. I am gonna have to, like, yeah. Anywho,
It's
it's a
not
fun
my favorite
chapter. It's
for
a little,
that reason. It's my favorite for the reason after which the chapter is named.
oh, yes. So that part is fun. Um, Maybe a bit of a warning. This section is a little spicy. We're not gonna get into too much of it, but it's
Just
it's
like
a
out of
lot of the
nowhere. It's
chapter.
really in your face.
It's I forgot how unsettled this book was when I like was reading it. I was like, oh, which I don't mind, but I it's been a little bit since I've read a book that's so in your face about it. Oh, this is really where he's always wet. Really comes.
Oh boy, does it.
His hair is just always soaking wet. He is working in a hot forge,
It's
so
true.
like
Which
this
is
is the
fair.
one time it logically makes sense. So she walks into this forge. This is after she's been in the library. She's spending her afternoon in the forge. And it's the hearth is on. And she's like, walks in, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm finally warm. Like, this is the warmest I've been. I've been freezing the whole time. And she's real distracted because he's pretty. She spends a lot of time talking about how pretty he is. And he essentially just kind of like sassily distracts her. And he's like, says something, and he's just like, I don't understand. I thought this was interesting. So he talks about the Fae are oath bound to tell the truth. He's like,
Yeah,
it's
that was
so interesting to
confusing.
me that humans are not oath bound Fae, and yet they're still this bad at lying. Because he's basically like, I know you think I'm hot. And she's like, no, I'm not. And he's like, you're really bad at that. You need to get better at lying, basically. And she's like, you keep calling me like human or OSHA. Call me by my name. Like, this is ridiculous. I have a name. Use it. She's pretty upset at this point. And he's like, all humans are just like so temporary. It's really not worth my time learning their names. And she's just like, you're really, really rude at this point. And then he's like, call me, she's like, call me Sarah, so call me nothing at all. And he's like, okay, nothing at all. And she's like, I really walked. And to that one,
Such
to
a
that,
dad joke.
he's like, dealing with him would be so infuriating. Like, I have been in that kind of situation and you just want to scream. Like, there's nothing you can do because there's no winning. But she does look in the crucible, and so like he's like forging this crucible. I don't know if you know. I know you know what it is, but it's a little
Yeah.
cup. They're melting stuff in the fire. And there's this like fine powder in it. And she's like, "Oh, is that some sort of bone?" And he's like, "Oh," he seems surprised that she knows what it is. Um, and she's like, "Is it a human bone?" And he's like, "No." He kind of like faffs around with it, but basically says it's a fae bone. And she's like, "What were you and Ren doing last night?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah, we were just out gambling and drinking. Like, you can join me next time. Wink, wink." And she's like, No, I'm not gonna do that." And then for some reason that we really don't know why, she just like sees this powder in the crucible and she goes, "I'm gonna touch it." Which I know we all want to do, but this is a woman that's worked in a forge for a long time, so she like starts sticking in her hand in this like again this crucible that's come out of the fire. And so of course Kingfisher like whacks her away, and he's like, "I thought you said you worked in a forge. What are you doing?" She's like, "Sorry, um, I'm distracted." And he's like, oh, okay. Like he's just baffled. He's like, "I know I'm pretty, but I can't be pretty enough for you to like maim yourself." Um, so she does ask him, she's like, okay, well, what are we doing? She's like, do you think that by combining, because they're trying to create relics, essentially that's why they want to do that. So the relic like his chain, and then we're assuming like his ring, we don't really know. They're trying to recreate these like alchemist relics. And she's like, oh, do you think that if combining Fey bones with the Quicksilver, then you could walk through the Quicksilver without the effects? And he's like, oh, you are smart. And she's like, I'm not dumb. And he goes, you almost stick your hand into a hot crucible. I beg to differ. And she's like, fair. Okay. Um, so she keeps trying to awaken this Quicksilver. She's having a hard time. She can't get it to do what she wants it to do. It's been like 3 hours. It's taking some time. Um, but well, they're having some like flirty argument, and she looks over, um, and she notices that there is another creature in the workshop, and she screams, absolutely screams at the top of her lungs. So this is where we learned that like Kingfisher can like teleport. It's kind of like the winnowing in
Yeah.
Akatar, but like he's like shadow, and he can go from one place to the other. He like shadows himself to his sword and is like holding it up, and he's like, "What is happening?" And she goes, "What is that thing?" And he goes, "It's a fox." And she's like, "What's a fox?" So it's a little Arctic fox. She's never seen one, which makes sense. Foxes tend to
Yes.
live in colder climates.
Yeah.
I love foxes, but
Yeah.
and so he's just like, "Oh, okay, like whatever. It's past. I'm gonna kill it." And she's like, "No, don't kill the fox." And he's like, but why?" So she's like, basically, like he's saying, like, "Oh yeah, it was probably the thing that was living in the hearth before we got here." And she's like, "We took its home. We can't kill it." So she goes to pick it up, and he's like, "It's gonna bite you." And she's like, "No, it's not." It immediately bites her, and so
This
she
is a
starts
wild
panic
animal.
screaming. I don't think she has a concept of that. I don't think that like there's not a lot of wild animals in desert
No,
areas.
it's true.
Oh,
That's
that makes
true.
sense. So she's just like screaming, and Fisher's just like, I mean, you got yourself into this. I'm not gonna help you. Like, I don't know what to do. So she's just like, I need to get this dumb thing to calm down,
Mhm.
basically. So eventually she does get it to like calm down, and it decides to like hide under her skirts. And so she's like trying to move around, and she's just frustrated. And she's like talking about basically that he's like, "Oh, you're in your fancy skirts and all this stuff," and she's like, "This was not my choice. Your sister literally forced me into these and refuses to give me pants." And then this is when we learn that apparently he can just transform clothes into whatever he wants them to be. We don't know if this is just a him power or if it's all Fae, and if it's all Fae, why are they wearing different? Why do they have different clothes? Like, I have
Yeah.
questions about that.
I
But
have a
so he
theory.
transforms it into this like skin tight suit, basically. It looks like a cat suit. And she's like, "This is kind of tight, but I'm excited I have pants." And then he does put like a knife on her, essentially like a thigh holster knife. And he's like, "Let me know if you need to know how to use that." And she's like, "I know how to wield a knife." And he's like, "I don't know. You said you worked in a forge and you almost burnt yourself." He's not letting that go. And he's like, "Well,
Fair.
if you ever need to learn, like, go talk to Ren. He can help you." Uh, so he ends up taking off his shirt. Because I actually don't remember if it was to do her wound. I don't remember why. That part kind of seemed
His
irrelevant
shirt
at
is
this point.
off. We're there.
He took off his shirt. He's wet, right? He's soaking. He's sweaty. The shirt wasn't doing much anyway, so he takes the shirt off, and she's like, "This man is covered, like covered in tattoos." And one that she like really takes note of is a little wolf imagery, and this is a giant wolf, like a snarling wolf, tattooed at the center of his chest, and she's just like, "Well, oh, okay, yeah, uh-huh." So they go back to work on this Quicksilver. Takes them like 3 hours. And then they like go, they haven't even warmed the Quicksilver. They go to like dump it into this crucible, and it burns up the bone. And she's like, "I can hear it taunting me." She's like, "I can hear it laughing at me. Like that was a silly thing to do." So she's basically just really frustrated. And she's just like, "Okay, I have to figure out like a subtle way to like touch this pendant to see if I can figure out like what I needed to go through this Quicksilver." So she's just like, can I like touch? Can I like see the pendant so I can, see if maybe I can feel the Quicksilver in it to get an idea? And he's like, "Well, I need it, so I'm not going to take it off." And she's like, "You let me have it for 10 days. Like, surely it's fine." And he was like, "Well, you saw what I was like at the end of it. And Ren put me in a room with 3 foot thick walls, and I had to stay in there for all 10 days. So I think I'm gonna leave it on." And she was like, "Oh," she's like, "I felt a little bit guilty at that point." So she's like, "Oh, okay." So she now has to grab this pendant, which she's wearing as a shirtless man in the forge. I think we can see where this is going. Right? There's a lot of, flirty um back and forth. She talks a lot about how he smells nice, like his sweat smells nice. I did put gross because I think
Yeah.
that's gross.
I agree.
I know it's part of. I know it's part of it, but I put gross. And then she's like, "Oh, I wanna." He's like, "Do you know a lot about Fae anatomy?" And she's like, "No." And he's like, "We're bigger, and we have, like stronger sense of smell, which you already know." He's like, "Our hearts beat a lot faster." He's like, "Do you want to know how I know you're upset?" And she's like, "I don't know what you mean." And he goes, "I can hear your heart. Like I can hear your heartbeat, and it's like fluttering." And so he takes her hand and like puts it on his chest, and he's like, "See, here's my heart." And he's like tapping on his beat, and then he puts his hand on her chest with his, and so it's like basically pattering her heart. He's like, "I can tell." And she's like, "I'm nervous." And he's like, "You're actually not afraid of me, and you probably should be, but I like that you're not." Basically, he's like, "You're the only person that I know that isn't afraid of me, and I appreciate that." Basically, um, and she's just like, "Oh, okay." And then I put, "It's very tense sexually." I just kind of wanted to skip
Blanket
over. There was no
statement.
point. If if you would like to read it, it's a lot of tension
Hmm.
that's building. Oh, I did put when he says, you're not afraid of me, but you should." I did put hot at the end of that because I did think that was probably the coolest statement in that section.
Hmm.
Um, so they flirt a little bit more. She tries to punch him again. Apparently, that's her version of trying to get out of everything. He's like, "Well, I'm prepared this time, so I'm gonna catch your hands." Um, and he's like, "Well, like I know you want to kiss me, so you should, but I like won't kiss you back." He does. They
He
kiss, and
does.
he
Yeah.
definitely kisses her back, but he doesn't touch her more. Um, but she does end up like breaking it apart. And he's like, "Well, now you know the line. If you ever want to do that again, you know what you're signing up for." And she's just a little bit dumbfounded at this point and doesn't really know what to do with herself. And he's like, "You need to get that bite checked out, and you need to put that fox somewhere, not in this castle, because it will like not survive even as your pet." Basically, and he's like, "I need to take you back to your rooms." And she's like, "No, you're not taking me back to my room. Like, I'm fine. I can take myself back." And he's like, "Either I escort you back or Ren will." And she's like, "Fine, fine, fine." And he's like, "Fine, I'll send Ren." And he just leaves. And yeah, that's about it. That's the end of chapter 12. There you go.
Yay.
Recap. A lot happened. But there you go. There
I
was a lot more
yeah.
in it, but I skimmed over those parts because you can read those. But
Love it.
there you
All right. Thanks, Colleen. That was a nice recap. It was nice because I read all of those chapters yesterday,
go. Hmm.
Saturday, in preparation for our double recording.
Hmm.
And I definitely needed the recap for today. So,
I try to make it decently detailed, but I do listen to these really fast, so I have to like listen to it, pause, take notes,
yeah.
like continue. So yeah,
Yeah.
tried to do, but I'm glad.
Lovely.
So yeah,
Um,
the
have we
section is
met
fun.
any new characters? Yes, we have. The fox.
I mean, it's the fox. I love Arctic foxes. I went through a very big Arctic fox phase in college. I like in college is where I like learned that maybe I like animals a lot. Like I grew up around like cows and stuff, but like different types of animals. And I really loved Arctic foxes.
Yeah, foxes are one of my favorites. Wolves are my favorite, period. But I love a fox. They're so cute and they're so adorable. And I like that they represent like slyness and they're a little mischievous and stuff. I could watch videos of foxes all day.
They always feel to me very whimsical, but I think it's because they're in like English folklore because they're
Hmm.
like what I think of as like little red fox. And I think
Yeah.
of English folklore as very whimsical. So to me, foxes feel very whimsical.
Yeah, I agree. Um, shall we do section superlatives?
Actions of relatives.
All right. Drama queen. I'm going with Saris on this one.
This, I was like, I don't think it's Kingfisher. I think he was like somewhat reasonable. So I do. I mean, I do think maybe throwing someone on the bed is dramatic, but I also think if someone punched me in the face and I'm trying to control my temper and just throwing them down somewhere and walking away would probably be the
Oh,
best
that's like
case
that was
scenario.
like the most like reasonable reaction he could have had. Definitely.
I don't blame her for punching him. Like he deserved it,
No.
but
No, I'm
Yeah,
more talking about the like literally being unable to focus on anything and like being so turned on by like that is you literally it's literally life and death right now, and like I'm not taking into account, I'm sure there's mates or something magical with them is happening, it's fine, whatever,
yeah.
but like literally life and death going on right now. Focus, girl, focus. You're 24, as you've told us many times. You're not a
He,
teenager.
he is almost 1,800 years old.
Yeah,
He is an old man. He is
he's an old
decrepit.
man.
I know he doesn't look it. I just, I, I really can't get over. And I forgot that was in this book. The whole like she's obsessed with his teeth and obsessed with the smell. Two things. Like she like talks about him being pretty, but she's obsessed with his smell and obsessed with his teeth. And I'm like, these are very specific things. And I don't
Super
think I've ever
specific.
particularly I like when people smell nice. Like I do like I'm
Mm-hmm.
attracted to like, a nice cologne or a nice smell.
Mm-hmm.
But like typically sweaty man, maybe not always. I guess I'm still fine.
I
But in
get
general.
it. I get it. I don't mind. It's like Joel doesn't wear cologne or anything. I still think he
Hmm.
smells nice. That might be weird to say, but it's fine.
But also like there's a natural smell and then
Yeah.
there's like you've been working in a forge all day
Right. Very
and somehow
different
you still
things.
smell fine.
Definitely
That
not.
feels very
That
different
doesn't
to
feel
me.
real. It's magic sweat, Colleen.
I that's probably the one thing in this book I won't get over is the weird obsession with sweat smell. Um, but
I
it's
That's
fine.
very fair. And then what do you think the craziest thing to happen was?
I was not expecting her to punch him in the face. I remember being like, "Oh, she punched him. That's
Hmm.
exciting." Because like everything else felt somewhat
Yeah.
expected, I think. But
I was not prepared for going like 0 to 100 with this aggressively sexual conversation. So I'm gonna say that's my
it's
craziest thing. I was listening to
no,
this
that's fair.
with my husband in the car. And like it was fine. We were taking Jeannie to her puppy class, and like 15 minutes in, it's all fine. They're talking about like the magic or the Quicksilver or whatever. And then all of a sudden just extremely explicit sexual aggressive language. And I was just like, "Oh." And he was like, "I know you need to listen to it for the podcast, so it's fine." And I was like, "I'm sorry. Like I didn't mean to subject you to this. I'm sure this is not what you wanted to do with your Saturday." But
It
here
does
we
feel
are.
like whiplash. Like you're just like trucking along. I forget how early it was. Like I
Hmm.
do appreciate that the author was like, "I'm not making you wait." Like not even a little bit. Immediately having it. She's like, "Slow burn doesn't know what it is."
Does not like a slow burn, which, yeah, I agree. Like, I appreciate, because sometimes that can feel kind of wishy washy. This is not wishy washy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's definitely like an immediate like I'm also assuming there's a mating bond thing and it so I don't remember, but if so, I do think it might be the most accurate version of a mating bond I've seen
Hmm.
where like they clearly do not like each other, but there's something
Yeah.
that pulls them there. And right now the only way they can figure out how to channel that is sexually. But
Sure.
it doesn't mean that they can't develop into other things. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I think
Yeah.
that was crazy. And I think it was only crazy because of the context in which I was listening to it. I was just like, oh, whoops.
Hmm.
But yeah, poor Jeannie
Yeah.
wanted to shield her ears, but I was driving. I couldn't do anything. I was driving. So I was just like, I'm sorry. It's just happening. Um,
Oh no.
Good times.
Love that.
Okay,
I listen to it on my headphones, so I was fine. But
yeah.
yeah.
Let's see. Ooh, it's my corner. My corner today.
It's Orchard's Corner!
Let's go to
Yeah!
my corner.
Orchard's Corner!
My corner. Um, okay. I want to talk about magical things that speak to you in literature.
Mhm.
So the Quicksilver in this book is a magical metal substance that, like magical in that like it does things, transports you places. It's not of regular what we consider non-magical. It is like supernatural, I guess. And it talks to her and it drives everyone crazy who uses it. And I think that that's really interesting. I think if we're looking at a magic system where it means that there's consequences for using magic, first of all, I want to say bravo, Callie Hart, because not you don't get a lot of that in like literature, like fantasy novels where magic has such a steep price like that. So that's very interesting. I'm excited to see how it goes. Let's take a look back at other magical objects that speak to people. So,
Ooh.
in more recent history, we have the Book of Breathing um,
Mhm.
in Akatar. It is the magical book that can be used to power the cauldron. Um, and it's split in two halves, and each half has a different voice that speaks to Feyre, which is super interesting. So it's not causing her madness, but she does feel a little insane because one of them is like kind of loopy, very like Alice in Wonderland, Mad Hatter, Cheshire Cat-esque, and then the other one is just like really kind of sinister and like mean and like kind of like shadowy, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, does she have consequences for using it? Technically, yes.
Very
When
direct
she
consequences, but
when she tries to destroy the cauldron, she realizes that it will take her life or Rhysand's life, and they make their way back from that. But it's not directly a consequence of
yeah.
using the book. It's more the thing that they're trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So in terms of magical objects that talk to you and possibly drive you mad or are madness in themselves, I'm still rating Quicksilver as number one. And I
Mhm.
would rate that as number two for intrigue. What about you? What do you
That's
think?
fair. Um, so my favorite one that I was trying to think of them because I was like, like I know there's numerous ones. The one that it is a kind of magical thing, also a Sarah J. Maas item. It is the door handle in Throne of Glass. Mort
Yes.
that talks to her, who might actually be my favorite character she's ever written.
Yeah, that's a
She's
great one.
so funny and like sassy and like does drive her crazy, but in a way of like also very Mad Hatter-esque. I do think that tends
Yes.
to come into play with these where he's like kind of talking in riddles and doing all these things, and she's like, I will rip you from that wall. And he's like, many have tried.
Yeah,
I
you
highly doubt
can't.
you can.
Yeah.
He's like,
That's such a good
at this
addition
point,
to the
would love
list.
to not.
That's so funny. Where would you place him? It's a him in the audiobooks, so where would you place him on the
Yeah.
scale?
On my favorite scale or on the crazy scale?
On the crazy scale.
The crazy scale, I would say he's probably below like Book of Breathings because like it's really just like an annoying character kind of thing. But I do.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so. It's the first like kind of bit of magic that we get in these books because the first book essentially is just about an assassin.
Yes.
There's not really a lot. There's some magic, but it's like not like introduced and sprinkled in. Is it the first
Mm-hmm.
little bit of magic that we're getting in this? And you're like, this is such like a such a dark story. It feels very Disney-esque
It does.
that
It
you're just
does.
kind of like, oh, who is this? So I
I
like
love
him.
it.
But in terms of like things that would make me the most nervous to probably have to deal with, the concept of it going like hearing voices or like
Mm-hmm.
having that happen is very scary to me.
Mm-hmm.
And like not being able to trust your own mind. I guess if you know it's coming from outside of your mind, it's easier. But I mean, we saw what it did to Kingfisher. Like we have a
Yes.
direct consequence of what it can do to you.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I
it
have
kind
another
of triggers that.
entry
Okay.
for the thing before we get too carried away. I feel like we can't
Yes.
talk about magical objects that speak to you without talking about the One Ring to rule them all.
Yeah.
The ring from The Lord
Arguably,
of the
maybe the top.
Rings. Yeah, that's definitely the scariest one. It's
Absolutely the
it's
top. Oh, yeah.
it's just a ring. It's just a ring and it drives people to such greed and madness that literally can't fight it.
Yeah.
And it speaks to them and it's this like such a like an unassuming thing. I think that
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we don't get a lot of really scary things like that.
No. I was trying to think of Mort. Like, Mort was the one that I think his name is Mort, I thought of. Though,
More, yeah.
honestly, Lord of the Rings completely forgot about, and I love those books. Um, I don't know. I mean, we kind of get it in Harry Potter, but like it's more of like a direct thing. It's not like a thing speaking to him. It's kind of in
Yeah.
Nagini.
Like the
But
Horcruxes speak to
um,
him, but they're just speaking
yeah,
person, basically.
yeah, which is interesting. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like older literature because I know it's a recurring trope. Like it's not a surprising thing, but I can't
Yeah.
really think of anything. And Lord of the Rings is a good choice. But
I
like an
love Lord
older,
of
I
the
don't read a lot of
Rings.
older fantasy though. Lord of the Rings is one of the few I've read that's
Yeah.
older. So I don't know.
I'm not sure if this counts or not, um, because I'm not sure if it actually speaks, but you know the old Disney movie, The Black Cauldron?
I don't know if I've seen it.
Oh my goodness, that movie used to terrify me as a child, and now I freaking love it. It's basically this movie about like a Sauron character who wants to
Okay.
get a hold of this cauldron. It's a black cauldron and it's so magical it can raise the dead. And he wants to raise the dead to create an army to take over the world. Um it's unclear because I don't fully remember whether the cauldron drove the king to madness with its power, or if he was already mad with power and then found this tool to try to enact his like dark things.
No,
But yeah, the
I've not
Black
seen it,
Cauldron
so I
is
don't know.
pretty scary though, in terms of
That one
magical objects
sounds
that can
yeah, no, that one sounds scary. That one doesn't sound great.
yeah.
A different one that I thought of that I haven't seen in a long time, similar to Disney. It's kind of in a similar era. Um, I don't know if it fully talks to her. I don't really know the concept, but like the spinel, the spit,
Oh
the
yeah,
thing,
from Sleeping Beauty.
yeah, that she touches. I don't know if it. I feel like it like kind of calls to her in a
It
way. I don't
does
know if it's
call to
physically
her.
calling or yeah. That's a
Yeah.
very direct consequence.
It is an
Scary thing.
extremely direct consequence, very scary. I was terrified of pricking my hand on a needle after I saw that movie for the first time.
Yes, I'm still a little afraid of that for different
I mean,
reasons.
yes,
But
for different
yes,
reasons. But yeah, no, I was so
it hurts a little bit. But yeah,
yeah. Um, no, yeah, I just love the idea of like a sort of like it's an object and magic is usually supposed to be like whimsical and wonderful and magical. You know, it's a good adjective. And then just to have like very sinister and real consequences attached to magic, specifically like objects or substances, I think it's such an interesting concept. I wish we had more. I wish more people did that.
we don't see it as much with objects. We see it with like magic systems. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of maybe magic systems that have direct consequences. Maybe we don't see it with like I like sentient magical objects. I think that's
Yeah.
really interesting. Yeah,
Me
I
too.
like them too. Agree.
So yeah,
Authors write them more.
yeah, authors write them more. It's so intriguing.
Write them more. We like it
Really
is.
grabs your attention. I'm excited to see like what how the Quicksilver it's a character. It's its own character. I'm excited to see how it
Yes.
progresses and evolves. Also really interested in what Anarath Moor means. I'm sure we'll find out.
I don't remember. So me too. I'm excited to go through the journey. I don't
Yay.
remember.
So yeah, that's my corner.
Yay! Good corner.
Thank you. Thank you.
Like it, like it. Are we ready for deep dive?
I
What
think we're
next?
ready for deep dive. Yeah. Let's do it.
Yay!
Deep
Okay.
dive.
Take that. Okay, I do have a thing I want to talk about that I wanted to talk about last time.
Go for it.
So, we know you're gonna have to walk through this with me. Okay, so we learn
Mm-hmm.
here that Kingfisher's dad got stuck in the mortal world, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh
You see where
no,
I'm
where are
going with
you
this?
going with this?
I know. I'm afraid. That's why I'm afraid. But it's stuck in my head and I can't get rid of it.
Okay.
So, which it does also mean that other Fae could have gotten stuck. But
Mm-hmm.
as of right now, the only Fae that we know that was stuck in Ceres's world is Kingfisher's dad. They live a long time, right? It is very plausible that he could still be alive.
Yes.
Ceres got her magical blood from somewhere.
She sure did.
I'm I'm a little afraid this is going to be like a Star Wars
I am
situation.
very afraid of that now that you've said that, especially because they both have like dark coloring.
Mhm. Yeah, dark fair coloring, which she does, which Everly literally says is a sign of royal blood.
Oh no.
Yeah, I genuinely don't remember, but I remember seeing this like as I was reading it this time. I was like, are they brother and sister? Are
Oh
they?
God.
I mean, we don't know. I don't think so. Like, wasn't that uncommon in royal like books? You marry siblings. Not uncommon, but
It's
they
not
are kind of in
uncommon.
that royalty realm.
Game of Thrones is so much incest. So,
Well, I mean, it's also just based off of like you had to keep it in the blood, so royal families
yep.
just kept intermarrying until it was one big blood cell. They all had the same
Mm-hmm.
ones. So
It's very true. That's an interesting thought. Um, what I'm hoping actually happens is that like Kingfisher's father and a small group of trusted men get trapped in the mortal realm. And
it is not a considerable possibility that that's true. I'm worried.
I'm a little worried too. Oh no.
So when we were recording yesterday, when you were like Colleen's corner, that's all I wanted to talk about, and I was like, it's not in this section. We don't know. So I was like scrambling to think of literally anything else because that's all I could think about.
Yikes.
It might be related. Um,
Well,
so crossing your
that's
fingers.
something to look forward to not happening.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully.
But
Yep.
possibility. Just throwing it out there. That's the main thing that I really took away from this section, which is really funny when you juxtapose it to what most of this section
Yeah,
is.
that's it's so like they're not even like dirty talking. They're just like
No,
they're saying the
it's straight
words.
to the point. It's not subtle. I will say
No.
this is maybe one of the least subtle, like Akatar. Like it's not necessarily subtle, but it's more subtle than this book
It's way more subtle
significantly.
than this book. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little more like sensual. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
is a good way to put it. This one's more just like you're hot. This is like a bar hookup in
Yes.
Quicksilver, and on Akatar, this is like people who have maybe been on two dates, been on
Yes.
some dates, and decided they wanted to do that.
Yes. Yes.
Very
I
different
agree with
vibe.
that. Super different. Speaking of Akatar, I feel like after last episode where I just bashed the hell out of Kingfisher, I feel like I should explain myself a little bit here. In this episode, now that we've seen, because I know you were asking me even after reading the rest of the chapters if I still didn't like him, and I still don't like him, and
Mhm.
I'll tell you why. It's because he reminds me of Tamlin,
Fair.
and I've said this before. The first time I read Akatar, I did not like Tamlin. And I was telling Colleen when we were talking earlier this morning that I think if I read Akatar for the first time now, I would absolutely loathe Tamlin. And I think it's just like my tolerance for kind of like it's the aggressive nature of it. I'm not if you're
Yeah.
you can have like a fun like witty banter and like you can I'm saying it again, you can throw insults at me if I know you're flirting with me. That's fine. But like the
Mhm.
extremely aggressive nature of it, it's like very Tamlin coded in the first book when he like hates Feyre, but he needs to make her fall in love
Yeah.
with him.
Yep.
And I think that that's why it rubbed me the wrong way so much. And like knowing that now, even having had a couple of days to think about everything and like remembering kind of what's happening and hearing you go over it, like I definitely
Mhm.
think I don't think I hate him, Kingfisher, as much as I did on Saturday.
Mhm.
Definitely still don't like him. But yes,
It's
I
fair.
just wanted to lay that out there. Like he just reminds me so much. It's just such like toxic masculinity that's not the same as being kind of a douche but you're flirting that like really I was just like, "Oh no, this is not good." But please
Yeah.
don't hate me, internet.
I agree. So the issue that I have every time, and this is a me problem, and I think it's because the only character interestingly that I haven't tried to do this with was Elaine for some reason, but I attempt to give characters the benefit of the doubt. Something like how you feel about Kingfisher, honestly, is how I feel about Elaine for the first like two books. The third one is different. She develops, but the first two books, I just cannot get over her. So we all have our things that we
Yeah,
struggle with more. But like even on a reread of Akatar, which I've read many, many
so many
times,
times, yeah.
every time I'm still kind of like, I get liking Tamlin. I get liking the guy that just comes in, takes over, tells you what to do. You have no thoughts in your head. You don't have to
Mhm.
deal with it. I would like that for also like 3 months. And then
Yeah.
I'd be like, stop telling me what to do. Like, I would
Right.
be okay with it for a little bit because not having to think for I'm an overthinker. This entire
Yeah,
podcast
especially
is
coming from
testament to
like
that.
a mode of survival and being kept
Oh, yeah.
safe and secure. I
Yes.
can see that. I get it.
This is slightly different. But the like with Kingfisher, I understand. I also just like aggressive people as a whole. So I think
Mhm.
like I would again we said this would rather you be aggressive than for you to be apathetic. And so I try to give people
Yes.
the benefit of the doubt to a point because I've also been in a situation which I think is similar to theirs, where like the aggressive flirty banner is really fun until it gets to a point where you actually do kind of want it to stop and it's going too far
Yeah.
and there's no way for you to get out of it. You're just
Yeah.
like, oh, I can't stop this. Like, there's no easy way for me to back out. Or
Mhm.
like, maybe you weren't even realizing you were flirting with them. You were just, it was
Right.
just,
And then you're all of a sudden in the situation and you're like, how do I get out of here? And you can't. Yeah.
yeah. Like, you're like, oh, we're having fun. Like, we're
Mhm.
going back and forth. And then you're realizing, like, oh, this is getting more serious than I thought it was.
Yes.
Or like, this is
Yeah.
more than I intended. I hate that feeling, and like that part. And I am someone that's really easy to bait into that because I don't back down from a fight easily. So it happens to me frequently.
Mhm.
Um, so she's into it in this, and I think maybe that's part of it. Is I'm like,
Yeah.
she's into it, fine. But yes, he's not my favorite in this book. We know that already. The
Yeah.
two side characters, Carrie and Swift and Renfist, are
Oh,
by far my favorite. I adore them.
I love
But
them.
like Carrie Swift is the kind of like flirty aggressive that I like. He's like
Yes.
a little too cocky about it.
Yeah.
That's my
That's fine.
preference.
It's fine. Yeah. No, I agree.
So
Um, speaking of female characters we don't love, Everlane.
it's better in this section.
She gets
But
better in this section. Because I was thinking of Akatar a lot, I realized that at least appearance wise and like kind of energy wise a little bit, not totally. I feel like she's close to like a Moore character. She's definitely this
yeah.
human's Fey guide in a new world and she's like kind of befriended her and stuff like this. But I think that the distrust that people have in Moore, which we've talked about, is completely unfair and makes us really
Yeah.
mad. Um, I feel
It
like
does.
that distrust might be a little warranted with Everlane. I don't know. what she's going to do. I don't know if she's going to explain herself ever or like grow or own up to things, but like there's something about her that I don't quite trust. And I can't put my finger on it. I think it's because she is just like she was mad, not mad. She was upset that Saris didn't come back to the library the day before. But Saris was literally
Hmm.
told by the king that she had a task to complete and Kingfisher has a week to help her. So like why
Yeah.
wouldn't she try and she needs to get back to her family who may or may not be alive. Like there's so many very like real legit reasonable reasons for her to focus on what she needs to do and Everlane is like, "Oh, well, like I don't know. I just like it's hard to I understand she's a
Do you want to hear
princess,
my?
but it makes me trust her a little less."
I have a thought. I don't think either one of us are gonna like it. She's kind of Tamlin. So she's bringing her in, making her safe, shoving her, or like kind of Amaranth, not Amarantha. What's her name? Why can't I think of her name? She's
Oh,
less devious. I don't think she's
Ianthe.
as devious. Ianthe. She's got similar to like you're too pretty. Like she
Yes.
literally goes, "You're too pretty to be in pants." That was the line that I was like, "One is a
Gross.
girly who mostly lives in pants. Gross. I am a
Yeah.
pants girly. I will only wear dresses when it's unbearably hot and I can't deal with it.
Mhm.
Like pants, so much warmer, so much warmer most of the time. I guess we wear a lot of layers, maybe not, but I'm like,
Yeah.
that really got. But like, this is very much. She feels very like post Amarantha Tamlin where
Yes.
she's like making
Yes.
decisions for her. And I think similar to Tamlin, I think she thinks she's doing it for the right reason. She's like, you're a woman to a degree. She's like, you're a woman in this world. Clearly, women don't have the same rights as men in this
Yeah.
setting. Like, you need to learn all these court politics. I had to learn them. That's how I survived. I also don't think she trusts Kingfisher, which sounds somewhat reasonable to a degree. But
Yeah.
I think she's making decisions for Everlane without giving her all the facts, and Kingfisher calls her on the carpet for it. And it's like,
Yeah.
they don't want to tell you this because they want you to be compliant. Like, that is
Mhm.
exactly what he said. He's like,
Yep.
I know what they're trying to do to you. I'm going to tell you. That's the one line that I was like, you know what? That kind of like undid a lot
No,
of the other
that is like
ads for.
extremely,
Okay.
extremely redeemable. Like that,
Yeah.
whatever his motivations might be, whatever he thinks his motivations might be, which we've talked about, where I think he's lying to himself really
Mhm.
well. Um,
Correct.
whatever it is, the fact of the matter is he tells her the truth. He's giving her answers when she's asking for them.
Yes, which I appreciate. Sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes I do think he needs to explain himself a little bit better, particularly with the Quicksilver in this section. He doesn't
Yeah.
really explain it. He just like
Mm-hmm.
forces her. I mean, it's very much that like training montage where they're like, "I can't explain it to you. You just kind of got to do it." But he doesn't say that. He's just like,
No, he just makes
"Do
it
it."
happen. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you. Everlane, there's just something about her, and it also could just be an us thing. It just could be like that personality type just isn't something that we like
It
vibe or would gel
it could
with, and
be.
that's part of it.
That's
Because
true.
like I've met women similar to her, and you've heard me talk about them. I'm not their friends anymore. It took a little while, but because they
Mm-hmm.
seem nice on the surface, but there's this like
Yeah.
controlling underbelly about
Yeah,
it
which
that's
is
hard.
like it's just like it's not something that you need in your life. There are people who benefit from
Mhm.
relationships like that. It's usually the one doing, it's usually the perpetrator. Um,
Correct.
so yeah,
Correct.
just yeah. That's let's see what else happened. Obviously, so as much as I dislike the smutty, spicy stuff that goes on in this book, I do think they actually have incredible chemistry.
They're very like they're like that like hot goth couple that walks in and you kind of can't look away from them. Like that's the vibe that I get. It's like Morticia and Gomez except more aggressive. Like that's the
Yes.
vibe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Gomez is, 7 feet tall and ripped.
Yes. Yeah. He Kingfisher is one of those guys, and I truly don't remember. He strikes me as like once he decides, because he is like I think very loyal to the things that he puts in his camp. He will
Hmm.
be similar to Gomez once he decides to commit. Just
I
so
would
yeah.
like to see that. I think that would be wonderful. I think that would be great.
I don't think he'll be as sweet as Gomez. Gomez is
No, clearly not.
one of
He's
my
not a
like
sweet guy.
celebrity character crushes, but I think
Yes.
the loyalty element
The
I think would get
obsession and the
cute.
loyalty, yeah, because like Gomez is
Yeah,
absolutely obsessed with Morticia, as he should be.
it's a dream. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I their chemistry is very palpable in a
Mm-hmm.
way that feels believable. Like I know we
Yes.
said it like kind of felt like it came out of left field, but like in not in a way that felt off. It was just kind of like unexpected. You're just like,
Yes.
oh
Like, oh, we're here
yeah,
now. But like I didn't not believe the reactions they were having. I believed it. There's a pull between them
yeah,
that's very, you can feel it, which is Callie Hart is an incredible author, honestly.
she is. She's really good at writing bluntly, which I like. I like blunt directness, and like
Hmm.
everything that she writes is very like directly blunt in a way that she
Yeah.
goes through it, and I'm like, oh, I appreciate that. It's like one of the things that I struggle with fantasy is the like fluffiness of fantasy.
Yeah.
Like I get lost in the fluff and I miss things that are happening, and this isn't that. It's very like
Super straightforward.
straight, which I like. Yeah,
Yeah. The last thing I wanted to talk about is old Foxy. Little Fox.
Foxy boy.
He's so cute. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm not Saris in a lot of ways, but I am Saris in screaming because something happened that I wasn't expecting, immediately coming to the defense of the fox when I realized that he is in danger, and then being like, he's not gonna bite me. He did bite her. I feel that to my soul. Like, if I was in that situation, I too would go for the fox. I'd be like, it's okay, come here, friend. So, I'm excited. It's the fox stays. I've seen fan art. The fox stays.
it does. It does.
Yay.
Yeah, I don't think that's surprising. Really, to be honest with you, like there's no reason for it to not be there if
Yeah.
it's not. But yes, I don't remember in what capacity necessarily, but it does say yes,
I
and
love
it's
it. It's
cute.
so cute.
I do too.
I just really
It's
like
so
the
fun.
description because she's like, I'm like, she's like, it's biting me, ow. And she's like trying to tell the fox to calm down. And then the fox is looking at her like, I want to trust you, but I can't let go of you with my teeth. It's so cute.
She's like, I can tell it's panicking, and I'm panicking, and she's just like,
I feel
so
like
this
she's just
something
like
similar,
holding
but
it up like this.
oh, I think it's like hanging by its teeth. I think she tried to drop it, and it's just
Yeah,
yeah,
like it's just like hanging on her finger by its teeth.
yep. And she's like, ow, stop it. I've had a similar, which if I went and picturing it this way, I had a baby cousin at one point that bit me like right here, and then I let go because it bit me, and it literally hung on by its teeth on my body one time. And then I felt bad that I almost dropped the child, but I didn't because it literally bit me so hard that it was able to hang on
I
by
like
its
that
teeth.
you're calling the child it. I think that's pretty hilarious.
In that moment, it felt like an it. I'm also
That's
trying not
fair.
to give away like gendered or name
No, no,
things.
that's fine. Yep.
Um, but it was
It.
quite painful, and I was
I
like
would imagine
9,
so.
and like this was, and like this, I say baby, it was probably like 1. Like it was way too old to be vibing the
Yikes.
way that it was.
Yeah.
The way
Well,
they were.
children go through
I
biting
am saying it.
phases.
Yeah. So that's what I'm picturing, except like with a fox, is it's just like I know that's not where it was, but that's what I'm picturing
No, it's
in my mind.
absolutely what I was picturing too. She's just like, stop. And the fox is just like,
Get
ah.
off! I was like, but I can't. It's gonna kill. Like he's like that guy is gonna kill me.
Yeah.
You might do. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's very fun. I do like that Callie, speaking of her writing, is good about adding these like little, like to me, really funny, but like still plot based scenes of like him
Yeah.
throwing her on the bed and being like, bad human. Or like this little
Mm-hmm.
scene with the fox. She's good about adding maybe some levity that might be needed in these like, even if it's like sexual, it's still tense. It's like this book
Yes.
feels very high stakes and very tense. And so I like
It
these little
does. It
levity
does.
moments.
Speaking of funny things, I think I'm gonna say something else that is on an imp. Ah, an unpopular opinion. There we go. Nailed it.
Okay.
Um, I don't think that Saris sounds as irreverent as she's supposed to. She just is
She feels like a
kind of
little too
annoying.
straight-laced.
No, she's just like a little like it seems like, and I am not bashing Callie Hart. I am bashing Saris. I think she's trying to be irreverent and it's not working.
Yeah. I yes. She's like trying to be this I she's spent her whole life fighting, right? And she's just kind
Mm-hmm.
of like, I can't break down. I can't stop. But she's had all of this figured out.
Mm-hmm.
And they just took her, locked her in literally the exact opposite of everything she's known. And she's just like, "Urgh." She reminds me of just like an angry little squirrel that's trying really
Mm-hmm.
hard to, like, in their minds, it's kind of what she looks like. Is like an angry
Yes.
little squirrel that, like, if it bites you, it hurts, or like it can pack a punch. In general, not that threatening.
No.
Outside of maybe the Quicksilver when she figures that out, because she can like force people to be mad. That sounds
Well, yeah, that's fun.
interesting. But
But
yeah,
yeah, I just like I think like Renfus is hilarious. I honestly think Kingfisher pulls off the humor very well. Obviously, Carrie
yes,
Swift is hilarious and amazing. Like there's
okay,
so many like truly funny characters. I know that Callie can write a funny character, and I think that
yeah,
Saris herself just she's it's just not there for her. She's like, I'm so irreverent, and you're like, no, honey, everyone can tell you're freaking out.
correct. But she's like, no, no one can see it. I'm containing. Like her trying to be sly and subtle is my favorite thing because she's not. Everyone else around her is just so distracted by other things that they're not noticing how. Like she's like, oh, so where's the pool here?
Yeah,
Okay. Where are those others? Like anyone who was even remotely paying attention
right.
is
They'd
gonna
be like,
notice what she's doing.
don't even think about it. But yeah,
Like, ma'am, come on. You're
yeah,
not as sly as you think you are. But I understand because that's me. I think I'm this like, mastermind manipulator. I'm not. I'm so obvious about everything in my life. But in my mind, I'm so sneaky. I'm too direct to be sneaky. But I want to be.
I think you're sneaky. If you want to be, I
I can
think
be
you
more
are.
sneaky. That's fair.
But
I probably don't want to be too often.
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else I want to talk about in this
No, I
section.
think that's I mostly just wanted to talk about my maybe this is the Star Wars plot twist.
Shudders.
That's it. Like I hope not with how like upfront aggressive this book is, but like it's so was Star Wars. And then surprise, you're twins.
Yeah, that's very
So
true. Yeah,
yeah.
that's very true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
That's all I had. But
on that note,
we shall see.
we'll see you next time. We'll be covering chapters 13 through 15.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see what happens.
It'd be great.
All right. Bye
Bye.
bye.